Hey, Francisco.
Hi, Leon. Well, looks like you like to provoke a little bit of debate, kind of discussion, or probably you want to see some knives flying. But yeah,
some people just want to watch the world burn, I'm saying.
Exactly. Those people that use spaces, where are they? Are they real? Yeah, okay, perfect. Thanks, cool. I'm gonna ask Lekan that turn on his cam. I don't know if something happened, but yes. Hey, I'm Francisco Picolini. Maybe you remember me from yesterday's panel about frontend, and today we'll be speaking about AI, machine learning, and basically communities. 1 second. That apparently Lekan has some issues. He has connected just a few minutes ago, and he has camera, but he has some issues right now. Anyways, I'm Francisco Picolini from Codemotion, like Leon mentioned. I'm dealing with communities and content for the conferences, specifically for the Spanish conference. And I like to do panels. This is, for me, an opportunity to share some knowledge with you, the attendees, with communities, and I like to have communities involved in these type of things because I think that they can share a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and all that. So I would like to welcome Alyona from PyLadies Amsterdam and Lekan when he will be able to log in again. He will introduce himself. But Alyona, please present yourself, introduce yourself, talk about your community.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So my name is Elena Galliva. Of course, I have a full-time job, and the community that I do, it's not only this one, it's all on volunteer basis, just for people to understand how many efforts we put in promoting and developing our communities in our free time. But it's really cool to do it. So I'm working as a principal data solutions engineer. It's a really, really long word, maybe. So in a nutshell, I'm responsible as a principal for development and deployment end-to-end machine learning solutions. It can be in the cloud, it can be in the private cloud, it can be on-prem. And sometimes people ask me, like, do you really do hands-on stuff? Yes, I do. So that's actually more than 50% of my job, including pre-sales and the rest. And if it's about community, I'm a co-organizer of PyLadies Amsterdam. Currently, there are two of us, me and Demi. And actually, we are currently as well looking for new co-organizers because for almost a year and a half, and we actually want to let other people take this place and shine as well. And as well, what I do on a volunteer basis, I'm a tech mentor for VI Accelerate. So there is a global organization, Women in Artificial Intelligence, and they created a VI Accelerate program. It's the program that connects female startups, organizers, founders from 30 countries. And during the whole year, they're coached, they are helped by AWS, IBM, and other companies to grow their products or ideas and to bring in the market. And all technical questions that they have, I'm always there to help them. So I think that's a little bit about me. Yeah, and I think maybe Lekan can share it as well.
Yeah, I think that Lekan is here with us.
Also,
you need to unmute yourself, I think.
Good idea.
Can you hear me?
That's it.
Yes.
Yep, now we can hear you.
Oh, love and clear. Thank you. Thanks again, Francisco. Thanks again, everyone. My name is Olalekan, and Lekan for short. Where do I start from? I'm let's say this one. I'm the technical data platform tech lead for HRS Group, which is me building on day-to-day basis. I'm building the data platform team, which is building the data platform, helping to scale the data infrastructure across HRS Group. I started in August. Prior to that, I have background in product management, machine learning, product manager as a data scientist, data engineering, machine learning engineering as well. On my spare time, I'm I'm let's say machine learning hero for AWS. So I'm always trying things out with machine learning on AWS, from building models to using pre-trained models to using services and such. So that's what I do at different times of the day. Yep, I think that's basically it.
Cool. Cool. I remember to everyone that we have the Q&A channel open. It's basically Panel AI, so it's easy to find it. It's on track 1, day 3, and you can share and throw the questions over Discord. I would like to ask and start a little bit of the conversation. You know, it's we will try to make it as a conversation, not as a question and answer and all that. But I'm seeing that basically in Europe, recently in Europe, I'm seeing a lot of communities related to machine learning, AI, AWS, or for example, a lot of communities around Alexa. So I was thinking that at some point I'm seeing, I remember to see this when the blockchain also exploded. So it's kind of a, how difficult it's to promote right now AI and machine learning at a community level, because we know, you know, it's kind of a, looks like a little bit complicated, a little bit specialized. So could it be challenging to promote it? How do you deal with that? Elena, you want to start?
Yeah, again, good question. First of all, want actually emphasize that the PyLadies Amsterdam, it's not only about machine learning, it's not only about artificial intelligence, because we were recognized by Python Software Foundation, and we have like a rule that we have 95% things dedicated to Python, but it's not limited to ML AI things. So once again, when we started doing our workshops, we asked our community, what do you want to learn? What challenges do you have? What do you want to improve? And based on these challenges, based on their requests and the number of requests per topic, we, let's say, define our strategy. At the same time, when we were preparing our bootcamp, original idea was to have it, of course, offline and only limit to Amsterdam limits. But then when we decided, okay, because of some circumstances, we switched to online mode. And we were really surprised that we got 120 participants. And during the whole month, there people were doing stuff. And it was 2 weeks teaching them basics of Python, and another 2 weeks teaching them basics of data analysis using pandas and using different visualization libraries, such as Matplotlib, PyPlot, and yeah. So in this case, it was not we who were looking for people who want to join this bootcamp. We were literally overwhelmed by the number of applications. And as well, when we asked for mentors, we as well were really surprised by the number of people who wants to join. And among these people, we have people from core development team of Anaconda, core development team of TensorFlow. So we were even, you know, like we are a small community, okay, 860 people from Amsterdam, and we are able to have this big reach out. But once again, it's not only about, in our case, it's not only about machine learning or about AI, because there are a lot of topics that can be taught in Python, and it's not related to it. So in our case, I think we use the curve and the possibility to learn online and provide guidance for those who lost, because it's a lot of information outside. Yeah, that's things what works for us. And also, I think if it's about community, we approach it as a startup. So we say what differentiates us from the other communities. If you Google Python communities in Amsterdam, there are a lot of them. But then if you see, first on Meetup, but then I check, okay, which communities are really active? What are the, let's say, what are they really doing? And then you say, okay, this community having meetups 4 times per year. Okay, awesome. This community that has the last meetup 2 years ago, and they have 3,000 people, but there is nothing happens. Why? In our case, we decided to give regular schedule. So all our people know that every month we deliver a workshop. Doesn't matter what, like weather, situation, there will be a workshop. This workshop is always specific to one particular topic. This workshop is always have a GitHub repository open. Then you can always follow up. And when we began with actually online, now we have video records as well. So yeah, I think in this case, just by doing stuff and by doing great stuff and talking to your community, yeah, you can do great things actually. And really grateful to people who are doing this.
Yeah. Lekan?
Yeah, so I think great point, Elena. So one thing for me is that I didn't start as part of any community. I think it just started with the fact that I wanted to learn and I wanted to share. With regards to the bubble of blockchain and relating it to AI, I think I will take the cue from Andrew Ng, who was the so-called father or part of the fathers of AI in the modern age. And it is referring to AI as like the new electricity. And if you look at it from that perspective, blockchain was never referred to as the new electricity. So it means that AI would have impact in different places in every day that we have, everyday part of our lives. And that makes it even easier to communicate it with the community itself. The flip side is that most of the time when I talk to people and maybe the community, I think how I started was I looked at, because I was the technical product manager at Scout24 back then for the AI platform. And then I was trying to onboard data scientists and engineers into doing machine learning on their own. And I realized that because as coming from an engineering background, I would always assume, I'm talking to engineers or like my peers back then, like, oh, this is the first thing that gets people into machine learning. You have to build a feature bank. You have to build this. You have to build that. But then I used my product management knowledge. I surveyed lots of users, and then I did some statistics and things like that. And it turns out that knowledge was the biggest barrier for people to getting into machine learning. So what I started was I think I drafted an internal course and said, this is where we start from. Machine learning for everyone in this company starts from education. AI for everyone in this company starts from education. And that was where my interest in sharing with the community started from. And then I started writing blog posts internally first. Then I saw that, oh, I think this could be beneficial to other people as well. And then started writing externally. To write on that, taking the cue that AI could be seen as the new electricity. How does it impact my daily life? So for me, I don't write about, let's say, speech recognition or things like that, even though it's good, but I look at things that affect my daily life. One of my most recent blog posts about, I was watching football way back in March because I'm a soccer fan. I'm in Europe, so I'm allowed to like soccer. And then I realized that the video assistant referee was always getting decisions wrong. So then I picked up Amazon Recognition and just decided to test things out. And then I picked up, let's say, I think Gluon also. I built my own custom image classification model just to see if it will predict if football foul properly. And that's how I started. Those are the things that I look at in sharing with the community, trying things out for myself and then spreading it. Another one was earlier in the year before Corona started was my wife does, I think we tried to do some sort of business at some point, and we wanted to differentiate between synthetic hair and normal human hair. And then we realized when we talk to people over the phone, we realized that this is a computer vision problem. This is what people look at and they make decisions and they make inference based on what they look at. And then we built a simple image classification to differentiate between synthetic hair and real hair. And then I wrote about it. For me, it's more relating to what I experience in my daily life, and then I want to share that with the community, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the end, it's not much different from any other community project that you want to promote. So it's kind of a, but it's kind of that the sensation for me at least was that it looks like it's a little bit complicated to promote because. One of the things that I'm thinking is if I'm thinking on AI, it's voice assistants or chatbots and all that. So it could be seen a little bit like a commercial. That's why. So I was wondering also as well that if the voice assistant, Alexa, Google Home, those type of devices help or kind of not help so much on the spread of the knowledge of the AI. If it's something that, you know, oh, this looks super commercial, I don't think we can jump in and start a new project about AI. I don't know. What do you think about it? Because probably you will say me that no, it helps. It helps to spread the knowledge of that.
Do you want, Elena, do you want to answer that, or should I go?
I think go on and then I will follow.
Okay, I think for me, so usually, I think the way people look at AI projects or AI topics is lots of times, and this stems from my conversations with different people, it stems from the fact that people want to build the really complex stuff. They want to build the next thing that Google is building, or they want to just show off what machine learning does or AI is capable of doing. The voice assistants are really good, but most of the human activities on a daily basis is visual. Yeah. So most of the time we see things more than talking about them, apart from now that I'm actually talking more than seeing, but we see things more than actually talking about them. And as much as voice assistants are really intriguing and things like that, they kind of stimulate a lot of motivation. Like, this is what, if I say Alexa, there's an Alexa button, there's an Alexa device in my living room.
Yeah, don't say too much. Don't say too much because we will be activating a lot of devices. Yeah.
Yeah. And if I say Alexa, it does something interesting. Or if I say OK Google, it does something interesting. And it inspires a lot of people that it can understand natural language to a significant degree. But what we do on a daily basis, we look at things, we visualize things much more than speaking. And I think people need to start looking at that direction as well. With chatbots as well, people like, oh, I'm always typing, but yeah, it's good, it's inspiring. And if you look at it from the perspective of, I can do something with voice, maybe I can hack something together, put it on an Alexa skill, or I can hack something together, upload it to the OK Google, I don't know what it's called. Maybe it inspires me to do more or things like that. I think it's beneficial to the community. I've never done anything in skill before. I think I've tried something with Google and Google Dialogue, but I've never done any voice skill with regards to voice AI.
Interesting. In my case, I think it depends on the situation, right? But I think, for example, it's a big gain for people with some, let's say, with some limitations. And if you have issues with your eyes, or if you have issues even with something else, it can actually amplify your life. Mm-hmm. And there is, in this case, you're not limited only by the thing that you have. So it's actually help you to broaden your horizons. It's really interesting point regarding visual things versus the voice. And if you look at, for example, voice assistants, or if you look at chatbots, I think there are a lot of use cases. But at the same time, what I want to say, we need to understand, to make it work correctly, to make it work in a good way, we need to have as much as possible diverse data sets, diverse accents, diverse things. Because, for example, if you try to use just voice assistant when you want to look for a movie, sometimes they return such a terrible results that you say, am I really saying this? Remember this joke with elevator when you need to say 11 if you want to go to this floor, and then this Irish accent doesn't work. So yeah, or the situation if it's, for example, a child voice. So whether this assistant will accept this child voice, or if it's a voice of a really, really old lady with some problems with pronunciation, with this voice accept, with this assistant will accept this. And if look, for example, chatbot, there are a lot of things, but we are using chatbots for some time, and a lot of people were thinking this is a magic. It's not a magic. It's a lot of work. And the biggest issue that now we have a lot of pre-trained models, a lot of stuff that is done. But once again, a lot of stuff is done for English language. A lot of stuff is done for the language that are really Chinese language, for example. But if you need to have a voice assistant in a very specific language that is let's say, not spoken all over the world, then you have a lot of issues. So I think the question how we can make all these products actually really inclusive, that voice assistants can be helpful for anyone, or the chatbot can be helpful. And for example, now there are a lot of different ideas for startups as well. So to use chatbot to overcome loneliness for people, especially now when we're sitting in a lockdown, a lot of people actually, let's say, feeling alone. And if there's a possibility to help them not to feel in this loneliness. And for example, imagine that you want to have an interesting evening and you're just asking your voice assistant to recommend you something like a dish or anything else. So there are different options, I think. So it's not bad, it's not good. It's something in between. And the more effort we put in it, the more effort we put in actually helping companies as well earning money on this, because it leads to investments and it allows researchers to dig deeper and improve it. I think the more chances we have, actually.
Yeah, just to point out, there's a project right now. I don't know if it's still active, but has been run by Mozilla. And it's about Mozilla Voice or something like that. I cannot remember the name right now. I'm bad on that sometimes. But it's basically what you mentioned, that it collects or makes a bank of voices with different accents, with different locations, with different type of voices, female, child. You know, it's something that usually that's sometimes it looks from the European perspective, or let's say white people or white male perspective, which is the situation. So I think that these type of things led by the community will help to move these type of things forward. So yeah, totally.
Yeah. Totally. So to add to that, just quick, one of the reasons I've not done anything in voice is because the first time I tried Alexa and I told it something because I'm a Nigerian, I don't have the white kind of accent. I do not the white, but the British accent, I would say, or the American accent. It didn't understand what I was saying. So I got really angry and I said I wasn't going to do anything on voice for now.
Well, that's a statement. Anyways, so speaking about this, speaking about voice assistant, chatbots, what do you think is the evolution of this? Do you think that it's going to go and solve some of those issues? Do you think that it's going to finally address the bias and all those things? Because I think that probably I think that you can also have another example, not only by voice, but I mean facial recognition. All those type of things are still failing on big time on this type of addressing this type of issues. So I don't know if you think that it will evolve and solve or address these situations, or it's going to be replicating the status quo of the society.
That's a very interesting question. So personally, I think the first time I tried to get into machine learning was in 2014, and I tried one cloud service visual solution at that point in time. And this was at a point where the news came out that the Google Vision or Google something, I can't remember, was classifying Black people as monkeys. And I was part of the first people to test that, actually, because I saw it firsthand. I didn't see it in the news. I saw it on my computer. And I think it's going to evolve. I think it's going to evolve. I think for voice, it's going to get better, which leads me to the question of ethics, as a thing. And I think lots of countries are beginning to become aware and clamping down on things like this. It leads to the question of ethics, and we need to get better at ethical AI. I'm not a legal expert. I'm just a concerned person, and I will speak from my perspective, and that's it. And one of the things that I think Leon mentioned earlier, well, at the end of last session, was bad data. And you cannot rule this out because human bias is everywhere. It's everywhere. Even myself, sometimes I make judgments by looking at people, and it takes me time to correct that. That's already, if let's say there's neural link connected to my head, it's already taken some impulses and logged that as data already by seeing something or looking at something. and that's already some human bias. I think it will get better as people get more educated and more enlightened as to things, ethics. That's a really big topic. I think for voice, we're still scratching the surface of natural language understanding. And I think we've gone a lot with natural language processing, but natural language understanding, we're still scratching the surface. Look at the improvement in GPT-3, GPT-2, and you can see that it's becoming more and more general purpose. As we move towards artificial general intelligence, I think it will get better. But I don't know how to answer that, if that answers the question. I believe it will get better, but lots of education needs to still happen across the world.
Yeah, that's for sure. Alyona, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, look, I'm optimist. So in my opinion, it will be definitely better. So if you compare the life, let's say 100 years ago, and now regarding diseases and the rest of it, it's definitely changed. The whole reason why now the AI got such a popularity, we always need something. We need a buzzword. So otherwise we're not able to drive it further. And now we had all these computational resources available, finally. You can pay for it, you can get it. You want it fast, you use GPU, or TPU if it's, let's say, Google thing. You want it slow, you use just old style CPU. So if you look at this model, the GPT-3, actually this model that was trained used tons of computational power. So if somebody else somewhere in a small village with a really bad internet connection on the it will cost, maybe it will cost this person I don't know, 1 year to train this model, So but at the same time, we're saying, okay, now we're moving to the cloud. Now everything is okay. With the concept like serverless, actually it's real data center somewhere. And for me, this is the question when we will come to this edge where there will be no more capacity to grow. What will be the next step? Now let's say exploring quantum computing. So maybe this will be a new thing. So we don't know, but I'm optimistic in a way that I'm happy that with communities and with peoples who actually raise their voices against the issues, it's, let's say, it's improving. And I just want to give you an example. It was a recent example, and this is an example how one person can change a lot for a community. We had a Dutch company. I don't want to give the name of this company. So it's actually the company who created the framework for deploying machine learning models. Okay, so, and then they created a demo on their website, and they promoting and pushing this demo overall GitHub, Medium, LinkedIn, and other channels. And this demo was about the model that allow you to predict the salary. And it was so terribly biased because immediately, if you just check a female or the gender not stated, you get a difference at least in 35K per year, at least. So this person was actually a really talented person, I should say. He addressed this. And we as a community swarm, again, let's say, around this person and help to push it through. So first, the disclaimer was added to the website. Then the disclaimer was updated that, okay, the data can create biases, blah, blah, blah. And then we really, really happy that this demo was pulled down. Because look, if you want to promote your product, you can choose anything. You can choose, I don't know, the algorithm that differentiates, if this is a synthetic hair or normal hair. So you don't need to put something that, but the most important thing was that one of this Dutch startup organizer is actually a professor who teaches data science. So for us, it was, wow, how is it even possible? And I'm happy that now this person, let's say, decided to speak up and the community supported this person and we changed this. And if you look at curriculum of the universities right now, for example, a university that teaches you computer vision or something more, let's say, narrow and or NLP or any other things, 3-4 years before, they don't have such topics like ethics in AI. They don't have such a topic like regulations in AI. Now you have the whole commission who is responsible for regulation for AI and in Europe. And you have a commission that supports. So something is happening, but we need to speak up. We need to point. Another thing was an issue with actually the data set. The biggest image data set, the COCO data set, was terribly biased because when they start to verify the labels that the people give this. So it was really, really skewed, like really terrible words against like as well females or people in color or whatever. And now there is a group actually of people who are working on it to retag this. And there is millions of images, but we are really happy that somebody speak up, somebody pointed out to it, and we start working on it. So I think this is the power when we are together, we'll see the problem and not saying, oh, it's terrible, but this is a challenge, this is terrible, and this is how we can solve it. And this is actually how it works.
Totally. Yeah, we need to wrap up because we are, about 2-3 minutes, and we need to close and give access to the keynote, the closing keynote. There's a couple of things left on the table. We are running a little bit out of time, but I thank you both for being part of this. Thank you for accepting the invitation to participate in this panel. I think it's super interesting. These type of things are kind of we don't. I think that this is the first time that technology are more visible on how they apply the bias and all that. So I think it's super important that we take care from the community side on how to evolve, how to develop, and how to run these projects. So thank you both for your efforts and for your work at the community. And I think that I don't have too much to say. And yes, we have all set. Thanks, Alyona. Thanks, Olalekan, and hope to see you soon. Lian, I think that we are back to you.
Hi, thanks.